Good evening, YouTube land. My name is Kip, and you are watching Car Chat with Kip on America Bumper to Bumper. Tonight, we're going to be talking car news, recalls. We're also going to be doing a few more of the cars that I've owned series, and we're also going to be doing very quick, not very quick. We're going to be telling you guys what's going on with us, the Vorst family, where we're going to go. Because for those of you that were with us last week, we had a bit of a upheaval in housing, and we now know what's going to happen. So we're going to divulge that to you guys too in just a couple minutes. We're going to start out by doing a little channel update. And hey, Trucker Dave, how you doing? Glad you're here. So channel update is going to be pretty easy thing. Not a whole lot. We're getting some pretty good views over the past 48 hours. 146 the last I checked, which is a lot for me. Still at the same subscriber level, 446. Pretty good views for Buy It or Boot It, the episode 11 redo that we did on Wednesday. So that was really cool too. So that's channel update. I also want to, hey Nick, how you doing? Thanks for being here, buddy. I got to remember to start doing this more often. We have a Teespring store now, and I will put that in the comments here. So yeah, Teespring store, shirts and all sorts of stuff, white, black, and gray. I think there's the three colors that I posted up. We're going to have some more designs coming soon, so keep your eyes on there if you want to help support the channel. All right, so now, hey Brian, how you doing? Thanks for being here. Really appreciate it. So we're not going to get into that yet, but anyways, so not channel update, life update. Let's get back to big screen. There we go. I can now officially say that I've talked with my current employer. I have given my notice, a month notice to them, and sometime in the very beginning of April, I will be moving to Tennessee. I have family that lives there. Mother, brother, sister live there. Gonna go live with them for a few months on my own while our son finishes school here in Vermont. And once he's done, I'll head back up. We'll pack everything and we'll head down. So there's a few months that I'm down there. Give me an opportunity to get a job, find us a place to live. Hopefully, we're going to try to buy something, but we'll see how that all goes. I'm sorry if I keep doing that. I have an ear that's a little messed up. Anyways, yeah, so I'm hoping for some rust-free projects. So, another thing that's going to be happening. I'm going to be having a video up probably Sunday. I still have to edit it. Pertaining to Zelda. She's alive. She's running, and we'll have that video for you. Now it comes the question of, can I fix the few things that it's going to need and drive that down to Tennessee, and that'll be my daily when I get down there, or is somebody going to buy it here, and I'll buy something when I get down there with the proceeds. So that's still up in the air, but keep your eye out for another video on Zelda. She will be video will be up Sunday. I'm not sure exactly what time Sunday, but it'll be up on Sunday. So yeah, that's what's going on. I'm going to be going down beginning of April. Tennessee, eastern Tennessee, east of Knoxville. So, eastern border. So anywhere from Johnson City or Bristol, Tennessee, all the way down to Seviersville, which is east of Knoxville. So anywhere in that area, we'll see what jobs happen, and you guys will be along for the adventure. So that's going to be a really cool thing moving forward for the channel, and yeah, so we're pretty excited. Okay, my wife's still kind of nervous about it, but kids are excited.
We are.
Okay, nobody's excited. All right, we have one that's a definite excited. I'm doing it because I have to do it, and that's what we're gonna do. And hey, Dave, if you go through there a lot, when you're going through, I'd love to definitely meet up with you sometime. Anyways, so with that all done and taken care of, let's get into the news.
Let's get right into the news.
Okay, and our first story for tonight is, yeah, Nick, we're pretty confident it's all going to work out in the end. So we're taking it one step at a time. We're gonna do what we need to do, and it'll be all good. All right. Now, for you guys that might be in the know, 2012, Ford decided to family will love Tennessee until AC goes out in August. Hey, yeah, thanks, Dave. 2012, Ford released the most recent update for the Ford Focus and the Fiesta. Along with that, they installed dual clutch transmissions in both of those cars. The dual clutch, to put it mildly, was a crap fest. Not good, lots of problems. And because of that, lots of Fiesta and Focus owners filed a class action lawsuit against Ford. The judge, they've just settled the case, and it, as the headline says here, it could cost Ford up to $500 million, depending on the direction that the owners decide to take that are a part of the lawsuit. So, as it says here, dual clutch, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, the way that they came up with this number, Ford settled the lawsuit last month for $30 million. But that's if people just take, keep their cars and just take a cash settlement. If the owners decide to sell back their Focus or Fiestas to Ford, that could cost Ford Motor Company a lot more money. The buybacks could range anywhere from $15,000 to $22,000 a piece, and there's over 100, maybe over 100,000 cars that are affected, and depending on how many of those, if 30% of those owners opt to sell it back, even at the lowest price of the $15,000, that's $450 million. Ford has already paid out $47 million buying back about 2,700 cars. And then there's the $30 million guaranteed settlement. So they're already on the hook for $77 million, and it could be closer to $600 million when it's all said and done. So now, don't know whether this is kind of like a Toyota Tacoma with the frame issue, whether you can go out and buy a bunch of these, or whether you had to be part of the lawsuit early on in order to be a part of this. But finally, Ford is going to be paying the price for a crappy transmission. Next up, as you guys may have heard, truck prices will go up again. Yeah, we'll see. 2020 Corvette C8s are now being delivered. I follow a Corvette salesman, Rick Corvette Conti, here on YouTube, and he had it pretty ingenious. Weatherbug, I believe, had a camera right at the driveway of the Bowling Green assembly plant. So he had been checking there daily, multiple times a day, trying to see trucks leaving with the new cars because they knew it was going to be soon. Well, between him and some folks over at Corvette Blogger, I believe it is, they have seen it. And if you go on to Street Speed 717's Instagram, or even Send It Steve's Instagram, he's gotten his car, or the car is at least at Whitmore Chevrolet. So the cars are now being delivered. So it'll be cool to finally see these things on the road and be able to get up close and personal to them. So congratulations to everybody that bought one of the early C8s. You're going to be getting them soon. And the computer's being a little bit slow tonight, but we'll get it. All right. So next story. What do you get when you go through a hoarder's garage? If you got garbage. Yes, a bunch of garbage. But if you're lucky, you get that. A 1965 Corvette convertible Fuelie. Yes, I say that again, a 65 Corvette Fuelie. And the few pictures that they have, for being under literal garbage for close to 40, 45 years, the car is in pretty good shape. Okay, well, it says, here maybe not 40 years, but it's been left in the garage back in '84. But this is one of 700 and some odd Fuelies that were built back in '65. So this is a pretty rare car. And it's also, I read somewhere else, oh yeah, right here, okay, 47,000 original miles on it that were racked up in a few years. But the car has sat. I'll go through these pictures right here. There's a Fuelie badge. It's not too bad. I don't know, what it looks like under the hood. They don't go in there, but the interior, yeah, it's rough, but it's not what I would expect for a car that's been, under a mountain of garbage for 30 plus years. Yep. So that's what it came out from underneath. And there's the pretty decent looking front end. I'm going to guess that's merino blue or something similar. But that is a really nice car. It's a non-original, non-factory hardtop that's on it. But I got to tell you, that guy, whoever, found the car and was able to get it out of there, one lucky fella. And for all you guys out there who are frothing at the mouth for anything Ford Bronco, we have a little sneak peek from what I believe was last week I said, or maybe it was the week before. It will debut sometime this month. That's what Ford has said. the Bronco will debut sometime this month. Let's go, computer. There we go. Now we actually have, it's a pretty grainy, but we have a look at the rear quarter, and this looks like it's going to be the 4-door model, just judging from the length of the roll bar up here. But we have what appears to be the first undisguised pictures of the rear end of the Bronco. And it looks like hinges here, so the tailgate's gonna swing in towards the curb, which is pretty common. Definitely not gonna have something that's gonna swing up, because it would never, the tire would never allow that to happen. But I gotta say, looks pretty good, and you can see some kind of heritage shape here in the tail light. Kind of looks like the Bronco and Ford F-150 tail lights from the yesteryears, the 70s models. And yeah. Oop. So I'm thinking I'm really liking what I'm seeing so far. Can't wait to see the final reveal, which again is going to be sometime this month, Ford says. And okay, you found an old Matchbox under trash. Depending on what those Hot Wheels or Matchbox are, I mean, there's people that will spend a lot of money for, especially for vintage Hot Wheels. White 68 Hot Wheel. Yeah, that's extremely rare, and if you did find one, $100,000 easily, but it's got to be the authentic one like we showed a couple weeks ago. Pretty cool though. 70 Chevy stepside. I like that. I would, if I were into Hot Wheels, that would be one that I would want to get. All right. Now we're moving on to some electrical issues. You like that? GM is saying that their battery pack could be the Tesla killer. Not really. GM has just unveiled a bunch of new battery designs, and they've hinted at a bunch of different vehicles that these batteries will be going in. And what makes this one particularly different is they're calling it a soft pack electrical battery. So it's going to have the ability to be packaged in different ways than, say, the Tesla battery or even the Prius, batteries are. So they're I want to say it says it's a soft pack. So in what I read, it doesn't really say that they're soft and movable, but their packaging is going to be easier. Also, GM is saying that they will have at least a 400-mile range, which will put them very close to what you can get out of a gas car. And the other really big thing with electrical batteries and for cars is getting the price down to, I believe it's $100 per kilowatt. And GM says that the techniques that they're using to make these batteries, they're getting really close. So $100 a kilowatt puts it in the same sort of range as a gas-powered vehicle, and that's what everybody's striving for. So we'll have to see whether the batteries will actually hold up to those ranges. Yeah, and that's the other thing. You make a very good point, Dave. How long is it going to take to charge the batteries? That's a really big thing. Yep, and it's the same sort of skateboard setup that Tesla uses, so that's why it probably looks like a Tesla. And speaking of, when they released these pictures of the battery setups, the teasers that they had mentioned, that I mentioned earlier, here is the one that a lot of people missed. But that, as the title says there, that looks an awful lot. Yeah, gigawatts. Hey, Jason, thanks for stopping in. Appreciate you being here. Yeah, so that looks an awful lot like Camaro, but they announced a bunch of vehicles, the new second generation Chevy Bolt, a bunch of Cadillac electrical vehicles, the Hummer SUV, and then this one was kind of stuck in there, looking a lot like a Camaro, definitely. And I'm gonna guess that's the Bolt. And put side by side, that surely looks like a Camaro. And it wouldn't at all surprise me because the Camaro boss, Al Oppenheiser, he's the one who is in charge of the EV development. So I don't know. What do you guys think about an electric Camaro? I do think the Copo Camaro that they showed at SEMA was pretty cool. All right. So that's the electrical issues for tonight. Now we got some recalls, and then we'll talk about two more vehicles that I've owned in my life, and they're all I'm trying to go in chronological order. So these will be a couple more high school vehicles. All right, we're on to recalls right now. The first one up is Hyundai is recalling 207,000 Sonatas for a fuel leak. This is also follows the similar recall for the Kia Optima, which is the Sonata's sister, brother vehicle, whatever you want to call it. Hyundai is recalling 206,896 Sonatas from 2013 and 14. The low pressure fuel hose could crack and begin to leak fuel. And of course, that means a fire risk. So if you know anybody or you have a 13 or 14 Hyundai Sonata, you probably are going to get a recall notice. And our other recall for this evening is F-150. Now, I don't know if this is a real problem. Well, it must be a problem since it's being recalled. So 217,000 F-150s are being recalled because their headlights are too bright. Yes, I say that again. The headlights are too bright. The affected models are from 2018 to 2020 with the optional LEDs. And the issue lies in the daytime running lights that don't dim when the low beams are manually turned on like they're legally supposed to. So, big bummer on Ford for not getting that all figured out. Anyways, they're being recalled because those super bright LEDs could blind somebody, causing an accident, and then no good. So there's our recalls for the night as well. Too bright. I see them nightly. Yeah, I can imagine sitting up high like you do that it's even worse. All right. So last week started off, this series of the cars I've owned with cars that I owned before I had a license that never actually saw the road. Now we start into actual cars that I've driven on the road. And we start off, this is an 83, but mine was an 84 Mercury Lynx. It was started off about this same color. It was a two-door, 4-speed, I believe. Yeah, it was 4-speed. This looked a lot nicer than the one I had, because the one I had, my brother had previously rear-ended a pickup truck in.
Oh, it's that one. Yeah.
Yeah. And rather than fixing the car properly, of course, teenagers, we don't do anything properly. Oops, no way. We just beat the hell out of the radiator, core support, and got it so the hood would mostly, latch. I think we put hood pins in it. Got painted black, and that was the car that my mother sold me for my first car. Cost me $300. And I am so glad that I never got into any sort of accident with it, because I would surely have died. But overall, it was a really good car. Wasn't fast by any means, but being a 4-speed, it was fun to drive. Yeah, had a tape player in it. Nothing really special about the car. It was actually my mother's winter car originally, because we at that point had a she had an '87 Camaro that was her summer car, and this was the winter car until my brother smashed it and rebuilt it, and then later became mine that following spring. Drove this car for I want to say it had to have been about a year or so before parking it, because it had some issues other than it being in the accident that I just didn't want to take care of. So I ended up parking it in the driveway. I think periodically somebody would drive it, but the next vehicle I had, and I'm remembering, it actually wasn't the next one that I had here, because I had one that I never got on the road before this. I'll tell you about that after we go through. I don't know. I better pull that up right now. Do the 83. Yep. And yeah, this is actually my next vehicle that never really saw the light of day. A buddy of mine found it. I loved it. It was really cushy inside, but there was an electrical issue. I spent $500 to buy it. I put another $300 in mechanics fees trying to get the electrical issue figured out. And after a lot of time into it, still not figuring out, I ended up gosh, I think it sold it to the mechanic. Anyways, I don't think the car ever ran again. I don't know what was wrong with it, the electrical issues, but bad car purchase number one for me of my life. And then finally, the other, okay, we got Brian. You had a blue and tan and a red one. I'm not saying. Yeah, there's nothing that era of Ford Escort and Mercury Lynx. There's nothing really great about them. They were point A to point B cars. That's it. After that car, the next car that I got was, where's the picture? There we go. 1979 Volkswagen Rabbit 2-door diesel. Like this one, except it was crap brown. Of course, it had the U.S. bumpers, not the Euro bumpers that you see on this one. I bought it off of a guy who was, I did not realize it at the time, but my stepfather, who was a state trooper, told me later on that this guy was known to be a pot dealer in the area. Never found any in the car anywhere, but that would explain one of the cool features of the car. The rear seat was not bolted down, and you could pull it out at a party or at the beach or whatever you want, and you had a really nice, comfortable seat to sit in. Anyways, like I said, diesel, 50 miles to the gallon. I went from Bethel, Vermont, to Old Orchard Beach, Maine, and back, which is roughly a 400-mile or a 500-mile trip on a full tank of gas. And it was a 10-gallon tank. So 50 miles per gallon. I absolutely love this car. This was the car that I had my senior year, and for part of my senior year. I would have had it for longer, but a buddy of mine decided he needed to go smoke a bowl between classes. And being seniors, we had the privilege of going off campus. And he asked to borrow my car. I'm like, sure, whatever. And next class, he wasn't back until about halfway through. And I'm like, what's going on? He's like, your car, it's not running. What do you mean not running? It's like, well, it won't go into gear. Later found out, later that day that the clutch, he had burned out the clutch on it. And nice guy, but not nice enough to actually help get it fixed since he broke it. And that was the end of that car. At that point, this car was parked, and I went back to driving the Lynx. The next vehicle that I'll bring up next week is a really fun story of how I got the absolute best deal of my life on a vehicle. And we'll get into that again, like I said, next week. So that, gentlemen, and I don't know if there's any ladies in here, but gentlemen and potential ladies, if you're watching this in rerun, that is the show for this evening. I want to thank everybody for being here and listening to my ranting and the news. And I hope you guys are excited for my future as I am. It's going to be a lot of stuff changing and going on. There will actually, I'm thinking that I'll be doing one or two more of these shows before it goes on a bit of a hiatus while I get myself moved down there and settled in. But we will give you plenty of heads up before then. And yeah, anyways, we're going to end this off like we do all of our videos. Dreams without ambition is like a car without gas. You're not going to get very far. God bless. Take care. Have a great weekend. And hope you catch you guys on Sunday watching the new Zelda video.